Hi everyone, welcome to this interview. I'm Jebran, co-founder of International Morocco. My guest today is Tony Railly, the director of the British Council in Morocco. Mr. Railly, thank you for accepting our invitation.
It's a pleasure for me, Zubir. Thank you for inviting me.
It's our pleasure. Mr. Railly will be answering our questions about a new agreement between Morocco on one side and the British Council and the BBC on the other side to promote English and its culture in Morocco. But let's start off by painting a broad picture of Morocco's linguistic landscape. So the linguistic situation in Morocco is quite complex and rich. Reason why linguists agree that Morocco is a multilingual country. There are four main languages spoken in Morocco, namely Berber, which is the region's oldest language, then Moroccan Arabic, Classical Arabic or Standard Arabic, and then French. And then there are two minor languages, which are Spanish, which is spoken in the north and south of Morocco, and then to a lesser extent, English. The Moroccan linguist Fatima Sadiqi, who works on the linguistic situation in Morocco, described French as Morocco's window on the West. But by looking at the linguistic situation in the West itself, where English is the lingua franca, it seems that it's a very small window after all. The four main languages in Morocco are spoken for different purposes in different contexts and by people from different social and ethnic groups. But I think today everyone in Morocco would agree that it's time to start treating English more seriously, to say the least, in order to have a bigger window on the world. So Mr. Railly, as the director of the British Council, an organization with over 100 offices throughout the world, and which specializes in educational and cultural opportunities, how do you evaluate the linguistic situation in Morocco, and especially in what pertains to the role or the space given to English in this in its linguistic landscape at the official and non-official levels?
Thank you for that excellent introduction, Zubair. I mean, you know, you quoted the sort of the linguist, and who made the point that to learn a language is to have, you know, one more window from which to look at the world. Morocco is blessed, in my view. Let me just contextualize this. This is my 9th month here, so I'm still very much learning. But I think Morocco is blessed in terms of its rich linguistic tapestry, which you just set out, and it's the pride it takes in nurturing an international outlook amongst its citizens. You know, the vision for education here is very much about that sort of dual dimension of a very strong Moroccan perspective and dimension alongside an international dimension. And the education system is explicitly trying to nurture that. And part of that is around, you know, the multilingualism that you described in your introduction. Much of that is historical. There's clearly been a battle over the years between sort of politics and pragmatism in terms of which language is given greater priority or precedence. In my own view, it's not a zero-sum game. It's not either French or English or Darija or Amazigh or Spanish. It's and. We live in an incredibly globalized world, and if COVID-19 has taught us anything, it tells us how interconnected we all are. And English clearly has a place in that linguistic landscape that we've just talked about in Morocco. You know, your listeners will know, your viewers will know, that English is a truly global language. It's not the UK's language, it's the world's language. It's spoken by or used or learnt by approximately 2 billion people. It's the language of the internet. It's the language of business. It's the language of academic research. 95 of the top 100 universities in the world teach in English.
Yep.
So there is no escaping the importance of English as a global language, especially for a country like Morocco that has this very ambitious international outlook. So to answer your question, and it's a long way round, I think English is an important part of the linguistic landscape here, but it is playing catch up a little compared to some of the other languages. But the Ministry of Education and many other people in Morocco are very keen to prioritize English nowadays. There is a clear shift towards English, an interest, a curiosity, an attraction towards English, and no more so than amongst Morocco's burgeoning youth population, who every time I meet them express a keenness to improve their English. Of course, popular culture, film, music, plays an important part in that attraction. I'll pause there because that was a long answer.
But to address the elephant in the room, a lot of people say that French has taken a huge space in the linguistic landscape in Morocco, especially at this time when Morocco has ambitions to become an important industrial player in the region. I'm going to ask you about your agreement in a bit, but can we look at it from this perspective, the perspective of replacing French with English in Morocco?
I refrain from putting it in that context of replacing French with English. I think it's complementing French with English and enhancing the remarkable talents and abilities that Moroccans have to engage in multiple languages. And as I say, I think that it's not just an asset, it's actually almost essential in the 21st century. It's something I'm embarrassed to say that we're not particularly good at in the UK. My organisation, the British Council, have been great campaigners within the British education system of the importance of learning foreign languages and encouraging students to benefit from the Erasmus scheme, which is managed by the British Council, to get international experience and exposure. So I don't think it's about French or English. I think it's about both. But interestingly, if you are a young Moroccan, ambitious, you study overseas, probably in France, possibly in France, and then you find yourself working for a big multinational company in Paris, they will operate in English.
Exactly.
They will want you to have a very good grasp of English because, 70% of employers in non-English speaking countries, in key industries, say English is of crucial importance.